When a freak storm dumped more than 7 trillion gallons of water on central Louisiana in August, families whose neighborhoods had survived many storms, floods, and hurricanes suddenly found themselves fleeing for their lives. Jerry Denton is a city marshal in Denham Springs, Louisiana.
For 7, almost 8 days, just every day, day in and day out. One day went to the next. We went house to house, door to door, making sure people were out and rescuing folks and getting them to high ground.
Meanwhile, his own house was under nearly 10 feet of water.
Water came up quicker than it ever has in the past. We've been in this house 14 years, and we've never experienced the water rise at such a rapid rate.
The cleanup will be a long, slow process. In Denham Springs, virtually every single family has been affected.
Businesses, teachers, law enforcement, firefighters, everybody, any kind of business that this city can imagine is going to be affected. So, and consequently, the tax base, which runs our government, is going to be impacted tremendously, and we're going to feel all that.
Just to give you a sense of the destruction and how widespread it is here in southern Louisiana, that thing that looks like a houseboat back there behind me is actually a shed. This is a place called Alligator Bayou. It's about 40 minutes south of Baton Rouge, and it's still underwater, even almost a month after the floods took place. And the people who live in this house only were able to get back into their house in the last couple of days. And today was the first day that anyone from the U.S. government showed up to help.
I've lived here for 55 years, and the water's never been this high.
Michael Pettit is trying to pick up the pieces of his life.
The water actually stayed in my home for about 19 days. We haven't received anything from FEMA or the government yet, because they're just now being able to, today actually, to inspect my home because the water was too high.
It's a problem many homeowners are facing. The Obama administration has pledged nearly $130 million to help those affected, but many here say it's too little, too late. This is Sabra. Her house was not in a flood zone, and so it had no flood insurance. She's been hoping FEMA would step in to help.
Of course, we put in for the help that they tell you to put, and they'll send someone to help you, but that hasn't happened. Churches from all around have helped, just individuals. State Trooper gave tools for him to work with.
And while the people were left waiting for government assistance, Operation Blessing was on the ground from day one. Many of those whose homes were flooded may be required to raise their homes as much as 14 feet in order to qualify for government aid. But Marshal Denton says that could be a death sentence for this town of 12,000.
The thing that concerns me is that, you know, the federal government not realizing what they do by requiring these regulations basically could regulate the town out of existence.
In the meantime, the people are doing what neighbors do in this part of the country, pulling together and helping one another. Kevin Reeve manages the First NBC Bank in Denham Springs. He's serving up hamburgers to the community since nearly all the restaurants have yet to reopen.
Well, I went through Katrina, I lost 2 houses, and you have 3 days to be on your own and another 7 days praying for somebody else to show up. So be prepared, but after that, the most important thing is your neighbor and those other people who show up quickly to help rebuild your community and contribute toward it.
It makes you feel good to know that our society at least is helping each other, because the government's doing nothing.
Though they're calling it a 1,000-year flood, these residents worry things like climate change and too much development may cause this to happen again. As for now, men like Marshal Denton are doing their best to put their loss into perspective.
Maybe this is, you know, God's way of saying, you know, it's time to clear out some of this clutter and put your treasures in heaven where they belong. And, you know, and I think that, you know, we've taken that to heart.
From Denham Springs, Louisiana, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.